Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Group Chat. We got a hot episode.
Yes, we do.
We got a lot of news. We also got an interview with, I would say, Group Chat's Naval.
Oh, wow.
Am I wrong? What other guest did we had on
right.
that all of a sudden everyone has just been dying for more words of wisdom from?
Yes.
Okay, well, there we go. Ian Rogers is back on the pod. He is also here with Pascal, the CEO of Ledger. Ian got a new gig over at Ledger, and they're here to talk about it. Talk about all things crypto, NFT, blockchain, all the above. Seriously, we're going to talk about a big lunch that happened. Tim went to a lunch, and his...
With a capitalist pig.
With a capitalist pig, which who would have thought? Who would have thought? And then all of a sudden now he just has a different vibe. Like he wore different shoes. He's investing now. Things have changed in 24 hours, and we're going to give you an update. On top of that, we have a lot of news to talk about. There's incentives now for getting the COVID vaccine. You can save a couple bucks here and there.
Or add a couple calories.
Or add a couple calories, whatever, but who cares? You're vaccinated, therefore you have superpowers, you're healthy, you have nothing to worry about. Screw it. Pound the donuts. We have a little bit of, I would say, Jeffrey Epstein crew news. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein news never gets old, so we might as well talk about that. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about NFT world and how absolutely absurd it's getting right before our interview. But unfortunately, we also have to talk about the very depressing topics of the mass shooting in Colorado. And then it seems like as we're recording, there's some sort of shooting happening in California out here at a veterans home. So we'll see what that turns out to be, but hopefully minor or nothing, false alarm. We're going to talk about all that as well. Then we're going to jump to the interview with Ian. We got a hell of an episode. Who is ready? We're going the distance today. Who's ready? It's a long one. Strap in. We're going the distance.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat. Here we are. We're on fire. Numbers are through the roof. I don't know what's going on, but we are breaking records every episode. I think it's one of those, like, look, a little bit of a secret. Statistically, at times, we weren't actually the number one podcast in the world. I think it's like you think it, you see it, you believe it, you achieve it sort of thing.
Yeah, who's Joe Rogan?
Wow.
Never heard of him. Now we are on our way, it looks like, because this thing looks like a hockey stick.
I want to start with something.
What?
So me and Tim went to lunch yesterday. So we recorded the interview that we'll ultimately talk about.
Yeah.
And
You two.
just me and Tim. Wow. Tim,
So Anand's asexual now.
Pan. It's Pan.
He's
I
paying.
was in the office on the phone with my mom just catching up. And I see a text from Tim like, hey, you around for lunch?
No.
Wow.
Good for you, Tim. Way to
Look at
fucking
you.
assert yourself, man, and go after the big money guy of the group.
Yeah.
See, there's a capitalist in you somewhere.
Yeah.
It's funny you chose Anand after the big windfall.
No lunch.
So
I
me
think
and
it sounds
Tim-
like someone's jealous.
It
to
was
be honest.
I am. Maybe I am.
It was a great lunch, great conversation. I want to point out a few things.
Please. I wish
Where'd
that
you
was
go?
a podcast.
We went to El Compadre.
Wow. What a trek.
Oh, so you were like in a car.
Yeah, we're in a car. He asked me what the best Mexican food in LA was. I said El Compadre, and I was like, "Where do you want to go?" He goes, "Let's go there."
I would pay for a weekly podcast that's Anand and Tim go to lunch. You pick a new restaurant. You have a conversation once a week.
Yeah.
It's like a coffee with
comedians and cars and coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim and on it.
So the lunch.
Pansexuals in the car.
It's called Pan Capitalist.
Bad capitalist.
So we didn't touch on all the subjects Dee wants to talk about, which is pansexual,
Totally.
asexual.
Yeah.
But it was a very enlightening conversation because me and Tim's friends groups are polar opposites
Oh, yeah.
in the way we approach work, way we approach career, way we make decisions in life.
Yeah.
And he just like can't grasp. I think he's starting to through the podcast how like some of my friends and I and you and Dee think about business.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this concept is so foreign to me.
Interesting.
Because in the creative world, which is what Tim is part of,
Yeah.
it's just how are you happy today?
Yeah.
So you wake up morning till night and you're just optimizing for happiness rather than, hey, maybe I should like think a little further out and plan my life professionally a little differently. And it was very eye-opening.
I want this podcast to happen. Can we just do one? Will you guys?
So what's that? What opened your eyes?
What'd
you learn? What'd you learn?
What I learned is Tim is becoming a capitalist.
Yeah.
Tim's like, whoa.
Did he ask for a job?
There's this whole new world that I'm getting exposed to by just listening to the podcast for the last year. How long? You've probably been a little over a year?
Yeah, I started in October of 2019.
And so you had this creative who never cared about money, business, or anything.
Yeah.
Just was optimizing for happiness. Then listens to us three talk about business every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Because he's editing, he's recording, editing, going through the whole episode.
It really sinks in by the third listen, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we've influenced him for the better or worse. I don't know. But
that's
Tim's a
interesting.
Yeah, I mean-
savage. Tim's like at a marketing meeting after the lunch. He's
did.
like,
He's probably scheming his artist friends. Say, guys, give me 10% of that. I got a great idea.
He probably goes home and goes, I'm sick of my broke motherfucking friends. We can't go to El Compadre. We're going to El Pollo Loco.
I mean, he made a comment. He's like, 2021, no one's taking advantage of me anymore.
I bet you
Bossing up.
he's probably managing like 5 of his artist friends.
I am.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah.
Oh my
With
God.
some artist management.
Tim, did you learn anything? I mean, I know you've already said that you've kind of cracked a little and learned some stuff, but did you pick up anything from a one-on-one?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. Anand's a smart guy. He's a really smart guy.
You'd be surprised?
I learned
I
something.
feel like we know.
You know, people think that would just be me sharing my wealth of information towards Anand. No, I actually learned something from him as well.
Wow.
What did you learn?
Who would have thought?
Recite it back. Recite back exactly what you learned.
Okay. I learned that crypto is the future. NFTs. I think, well, this was our debate, or we started to debate this. NFTs, I think it's BS.
He thinks it's BS. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
So we were just
To be determined. I would say.
Oh, and Earth 2? Same deal. You
What's
guys
that?
got to talk about Earth 2.
He asked me about something. He's like, have you heard of Earth 2? And I was like, what's Earth 2?
Oh, that's a new health food grocery store in West Hollywood.
Sure. It's some sort of like where you can,
It's a metaverse.
it's a metaverse where you can like buy Italy. You can buy the US
Yeah.
on the blockchain. And while we're on the way back to the office, I get a text from my friend who's super into crypto, goes, have you heard of Earth 2?
Wow.
Tim's just
So I'm ahead of the
Wow.
wave. I want you to know that I went from being the know-nothing artsy kid to now I'm mentioning things
spitting
before
game to
your,
me. I didn't even
your
know who it was.
Put you
high-profile
onto
friends.
Earth 2.
Yeah.
Imagine one day you own like 5 homes in Earth 2 and it's because Tim brought it up at El Compadre. Oh my gosh, this is incredible.
I think what Tim's realized, if you truly want to live that pansexual lifestyle, you got to be rich.
Yeah.
For real. I mean,
Yeah.
your options
You
go
can't
through
just-
the roof.
Yeah, you just can't have sex with anyone and everyone if you don't got money.
That's true. It's expensive.
You need the house.
You gotta go for dates.
You need the pad. You need to take them somewhere nice.
I feel
I'm realizing that LA is more expensive than I thought.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it is.
but my takeaway that lunch is Tim is bossing up in 2021.
He is, man. I feel like,
I like
you're gonna
it.
lose a lot of friends this year. Well, you got us, man. You got us.
Yeah.
There's something really interesting about what that is. Of you two going to lunch and having that. Because you two are like the two that hate each other. When you're represented in Congress.
When you're represented in
When you're
Congress.
represented in the country. Like, I'm not saying you two actually. I'm saying in this country, your group hates his group. Not that if he was full Trump, it'd be different. You'd actually really hate him. But like, and then his sort of capitalist thinking group thinks your group is, whatever. They don't get real life. Bam.
We could solve a lot of problems.
I'm not kidding, man. We should just do one podcast. Will you do one?
Yeah, it'd be fun.
We need a little.
We'll
theme
do one
song.
and release it as a special episode.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
This is the core. We could bring people together.
Live from El
If
Compadre.
only you were a Trump voter. I
Can
wish
we
Anand
call-
was a full Trump. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you?
wait till these estate
for this-
taxes and cap gains taxes change. Anand's going full MAGA.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So the fact that rich people complain about taxes is really stupid.
Yeah, cool, because they're scared that one day they'll have to. I think it's like the same as the gun people saying, don't take my guns because it's a slippery slope. You ban clips, next you're going to ban everything. You're like, well, you raise long-term capital gains and it's a slippery slope. And next thing you know, that billionaire tax.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened?
No, this whole thing is hilarious.
I love it.
We'll get it.
I just
We'll do
wish
it next week.
there was something recorded I could listen to.
I'm just sensing a lot of jealousy. You know, I'm sensing it from these two
I'm
directions
jealous.
right here.
Yeah.
So
jealous.
it's funny. When I said Tim, let's go to lunch. I was like, "Where's Pete? I'm sure he'd love a free lunch." And Pete tells Tim, "I've got 1,000,001 things to do." And
Previous to a lunch offer.
And
previous to lunch,
Yeah.
and then
It
I went and
deterred
looked
me.
for him. I went and looked in the office. I was on
crazy.
the phone looking for him. I was like, "Hey man, free lunch." And then I come
Don't
back to
even
the
get a text.
office,
No text.
and Pete's furious.
He goes, "Where were you?"
So you only respond to text?
No, he didn't text me. That's what I'm saying. Neither one of these guys.
But I thought he said he called you.
No,
No,
he was
I
on the
walking
phone.
around the office. I was on the phone walking around the office. What do you want me to do? How many?
I know.
Wait, this guy's got a phone. I just say, "Hey, where are you?"
I didn't want to interrupt the 1,000,001 things he had to do. You know, I didn't want to be the thing that got in the way. I didn't
gave
want to
Tim
hear
like
it
a-
from D later.
He got nothing done
Well,
today.
if Pete had gotten anything done yesterday.
I'm sensing a little more confidence out of Tim
Yeah, Tim's bossing out. I'm
after
telling
yesterday. This is good.
He even just cracked his
knuckles.
legs.
Now he's gonna fight me.
Yeah, you want to go boxing? Let's go boxing.
This guy. Now he's violent.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Watching some Jake Paul. No.
And he comes in rocking boots. This guy's scary.
Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, well, this is good, man. I think this is at the heart of a lot of the problems in our country, and I think we can do our part to solve it. Okay. Well, what I was going to jump into is COVID vaccination world. So there's this new thing happening, which I think we kind of joked about, but we joked about it more of like in regards to the stimulus and stuff like that. This is something I didn't really see coming, but is brilliant, which is that a lot of businesses are offering like incentives to people who are vaccinated. So like, you know, special little gifts, or here's a little extra discount, or here's a whatever. There's this whole new COVID vaccine coupon thing going on.
Yeah, I think the big one is from Krispy Kreme, which is
I heard
giving
about that.
a free donut. I think proof of a COVID vaccination, you get a free donut.
I feel
So-
Krispy Kreme shouldn't be the one leading the charge on this.
We should also.
I respect the corporate
about this?
America saying, "Hey, we should incentivize people to vaccine," but
Here's an angle.
No.
Unhealthy people are most at risk. So if you go straight for the donut eaters and encourage
it's
them,
a good angle.
right? You
I
can
like
save
it.
lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. Because 78% of hospitalizations from COVID were obesity.
Krispy Kreme.
Well,
So they're
there's
doing their
one.
part.
There's one thing about it that you should have read in the terms and conditions that nobody did. You read further; it actually says if you choose, you don't. It's your right to get the vaccine or not. If you choose not to, there's a certain date in which you can go and still get a free donut. And actually, they add in a free coffee.
You know, they just had to do that.
No, they gave more for not being vaccinated.
I know, but HR was like, yo, what are we going to do about this? It's
wild.
This is going to be a problem.
I know little underlining terms.
They
you know?
snuck it in there.
Yeah,
The point still
100%.
stands.
Right.
So here's an interesting stat that this article shared. Nearly 1/4 of employed Americans who probably or definitely won't get vaccinated would consider getting their shot if offered a cash bonus or a stipend. So that says it all. You could get and potentially another 25% of the population by offering a little bit of money. Like, why the hell not? Let's get this going. So a lot of employers are offering, like Kroger is giving $100 to in-store credit to their staff. Publix is offering $125 store credit to their staff. And then Target, Trader Joe's, McDonald's, they're all giving time off, extra money to get vaccinated. So, I mean, I think the big companies are doing the right things. But I think to get like the last batch of people we need to reach that like herd immunity, I mean, we're
It's gonna
so
be tough.
close. Just toss in another trillion.
But don't you think?
Damn, you want another trillion?
Yeah, why not?
Jeez. What-
But don't you think at this point, the people, we're now 4 months into vaccine rollout, the people that are still
3 months, right?
well, technically December. We're end of
Okay.
March, right? So
Yeah.
the people with 4 months of data that the vaccine's safe, no one's dying from it, it works,
Yep.
and they still don't want to get it, you can't convince them at this point.
No.
I think $500 would.
$500 would do a lot. Cold hard cash would probably take out half of those people.
Yes. People would do a lot for $500.
But that's it. But I agree with you. I think at a certain point, it's like there's just no convincing a certain group.
Yep.
I mean, I see NBA players started posting that they don't trust the vaccine.
I mean, a massive amount of people think that there's a pedophile cabal that runs the government secretly and are willing to storm the Capitol to find those.
Tell me more. I'm interested.
Well, let me tell you about it. It's this thing called Q. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's just that certain part you're just never going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cash would work. But damn it. I
So
mean, how much cash
if
can
you
we
were
get?
to say 45% of the country, I think is the number that don't want the vaccine.
45?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot.
So do you think you can get another, of that 45, you can get that down to like 25?
I'd bet on 30.
With $500.
I bet $500 you can wipe out 15% more. 30 left.
And that's not that expensive. It's not a lot of people.
As long as they don't all hang out. I have to believe there's a place. The actual goal probably isn't, I mean, I'm sure it is, but like isn't 100% vaccination. It's just there has to be a marker, a place where those, now it just stops, right? Because there's so few people. I would just worry about those variants. You know, the Alabama variant,
Right.
the frickin' spun up.
I mean, LA is the perfect case study. It was the worst city in the worst country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And case numbers are just de minimis at this point.
Yep. Okay. Well, if you want a free donut, maybe some free weed, people are offering all sorts of little incentives. So go ahead and get that needle in the arm.
Yeah.
Jab them up.
Ever since Anand did it, his net worth has skyrocketed. So I'm okay. Next up, let's circle back on old Leon Black from Apollo. You know, big money guy.
Big Hamptons guy.
Big Hamptons guy, big in all the rich circles. Found to have transferred quite a bit of money over to Jeffrey Epstein. It was real fishy, and he's kind of been called into question quite a bit, but he has officially stepped down, which seems a little late. I mean, just now quitting, like just quit. Dude. I mean,
Just to remind people, this guy gave Jeffrey Epstein $150 million. $150 million.
that's
those are numbers Tim's like, 150 million.
Yeah,
That's
very
what I'm
familiar.
talking about.
150
Big
million.
money.
Got it. What's the tax on that if you transfer? Is that a gift tax or how do you?
But I mean,
150,
why are you
man.
paying? Who pays a financial advisor $150 million?
You guys don't think it was an accident or anything?
I got to give credit to Dan Primack
He
from
meant to say-
Axios. He's their lead tech writer. He's been on the Leon Black Epstein connection every day, pretty much until now. He would write in his daily newsletter, still no comment from Leon Black, still no comment from Leon Black. And I think he helped bring this to the forefront where the mainstream media were just like, yo,
Yeah.
150 million? Like, there's something going on here. And I mean, I fear stepping down is like a slap on the wrist. Like, let's figure out what you were doing.
Yeah, stepping down and still having all your financial interest in Apollo.
Yeah, the
is a
dude's
joke.
worth like 10 billion. I don't know, something insane.
Yeah,
I mean, they have to be investigating this, right? Or no?
You would think.
I will say props to journalists because I think journalists have gotten kind of a bad rap. I'm not talking about like from the Trump stuff, but I'm talking about like everything being clickbaity, everything being like whatever. And it's really journalists that took down Epstein and are staying on all this shit. Because without them, no one, I think this thing is already like brushed under the rug.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, see you later, Leon. Hopefully we figure out where that 150 million went and what exactly he got in return.
Yes, we need to know.
I mean,
I don't get why you had these amazing journalists down in Miami, right? That
Yep.
chased that
Miami
Epstein
Herald.
case.
Yeah.
Why aren't they chasing the billionaires? Are they just getting
because
blocked?
they're billionaires and they can pay people to
Yeah.
stop
By
doing
paying their
things.
bosses.
They're just,
Yeah.
But the journalists aren't scared of billionaires. We know that.
I think the bosses, the
No, but
companies
their
probably
bosses.
are. I bet the businesses are like, yo, we got it.
Chill out on Leon Black.
You did a great job. Let's chill out on Leon.
You know, this is sad. I mean, Leon Black went to Harvard.
One of your fellow classmates.
Very sad.
I think his children did too.
Sheesh. Okay.
Shocker.
All right, let's move on to some actual sad news. Mass shootings. I don't know whether mass shootings, I'm guessing that they were down through COVID with just people being locked indoors. I also think like we didn't really hear much about this type of stuff, even like through the Trump days. Like I really feel like Trump just took over the news cycle so much. I don't know, or maybe I'm totally off here, but it just feels like we're back to, there's this huge mass shooting in Colorado, 10 people dead at a grocery store. It looks like there's another one potentially happening today in California at a veteran's home. But let's talk about Colorado. So this guy walks into a grocery store. It looks like, I think details are still pretty sparse. Kills 10 people. Comes out alive. We're back. I mean, here we are.
You know, there isn't like a whole lot to talk about here because ultimately what we're finding here, you know, we're back to normal when it comes to mass shootings because the country's back open up. There's probably people that are, you know, just frustrated with life, whatever it may be. And here's the challenge. We're not going to do anything about it. So it's like, I don't think at this point, if Sandy Hook and Parkland didn't create some real fear about guns in America, I don't know if any of this stuff is either. So it's really mind-boggling to me that people don't want gun control, and we can talk to it till we're blue in the face, but clearly it's just not what the country wants, and we're never going to get it at this pace. So, I mean, I guess this is just a part of life. We're effectively under attack by our citizens at any given day.
I think one day you get it. I think there's a generation that has to age out that would tip the scale of who wants it versus who doesn't.
Yeah, we're probably 50 years away from that.
Yeah.
Because right now, you can compare it to COVID. We accepted 3,000 deaths a day. There was a large portion of the country that accepted 3,000 to 3,500 deaths a day. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me to wear my mask.
Yep, that's the problem. People have trouble seeing outside of how it affects their day-to-day.
Yes.
So you don't care about that 3,000. You just don't want to wear a mask to the store.
Yes.
Same thing. Like you don't want to have someone show up. You're picturing the government showing up, taking your gun. You don't want that to happen.
Yep.
You're so worried about that you don't care about what's actually happening.
Yeah, and you know, both shootings this week were 21-year-olds.
Which kind of is the flaw in our aged out argument.
No, I don't think the psychos are any age.
Their access to guns.
I think the people that are like from my cold dead hands, those people.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm not even, some people are. We're not trying to take every single one of your guns. It's like no background checks, no nothing. Like assault rifles, like it's just absurd.
Yeah, there shouldn't be guns that civilians have that can function like a mass shooting.
And there was a cop with a gun. The whole good guy with a gun solves a bad guy with a gun.
Give teachers guns,
There's
right?
yeah, exactly. So you want teachers to have them. There was a cop there who was trained, who had a gun, who died. First guy on the scene. So
that's crazy.
You have some 21-year-old that can outgun a cop who's trained. I'm guessing. And what type of gun did he have? Did this guy have an assault rifle?
Which one?
The killer?
I don't know, but
I mean, you would think so,
you would
right?
think he overpowered the cop.
So not to jump to conclusions, but the point is to be able to do that and be in that state and whatever. It's just like, I hate that we treat it like a all guns or no guns issue. It's just our laws are so absurd.
It said semi-automatic rifle, shooting rapid fire.
Yeah, there you go. So that's like an AR-15 type thing. So
of
that
course,
means he can do
handgun, 20 bullets to the cop's one? Is that right?
No, the cop would have probably like 12, I think. I don't remember what's in the clip of a...
yeah, if a cop's taking his gun, how many bullets overpowered can a semi-automatic rifle do?
I would say a minimum of 2 or 3x. But it's also like it's the aim, it's the caliber of the bullet is much bigger. Like it's a totally different ball game. Right. An AR versus a Glock or whatever a cop carries, it's a night and day difference. No chance you're going to win that unless you're, a Navy SEAL. And especially because you got to tie in like the chaos of, you're in a store, everyone's running around. You don't know who's who. This guy looks like a normal guy. You don't know. It's just the fact that like it blows my mind the lack of empathy outside of themselves that we've learned that a lot of people have in this country.
And it applies to all issues. It applies to life and death,
Yeah.
whether it's guns, a virus.
Yeah.
People don't care.
No, and we saw so many people with COVID. Like we saw literally videos of people that were like, COVID's fake, don't tell me to wear a mask. And then they got COVID and then they're like, you should take this serious. This is terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of those people died. So the moment it shows up on your doorstep, obviously your energy changes completely. But people just like are so narrow-minded with not being able to see outside. Like there's stats. Like
So how do you solve that problem? Because it's an empathy issue, right? Like our citizens don't have empathy. And I can't speak for the rest of the world on different topics, but guns is definitely an American problem, not a global problem.
Yeah.
But like, how do you make what I don't understand is if you're truly selfish, then you should understand that if your neighbor is doing well, you actually win because of that, right? Like
Yep.
you don't win in a society where other people are put down and you're put up. We just don't. It just eventually causes civil war. Like we can't have a society where 1% of the population is going to win, the other percent of the population loses.
Yeah.
And I just don't. How do you change people's belief into that? Because like religion teaches empathy, right?
Yeah, of course. But some religious people are some of the least empathetic people to other groups. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
I think it's plain and simple. There's this culture of people in power, like the people in Congress or the people in senators, governors, all those things, catering to sometimes the worst instincts of their constituents instead of knowing what's best. And I know that has to be a delicate dance, but to me, there's a difference between understanding certain cultural differences in your state or your whatever, you gotta look out for your people, and just catering to their worst instincts and doing, like to me, like I don't know if this is a horrendous example, but a lot of this stuff with like these YouTubers and stuff getting in trouble, to me, where that came from is you're catering to clicks and views and outrage. You're catering to the worst instincts of your audience and you're just kicking it up a notch, because all you care about is views. To me, it's like when all you care about is votes, above all else, you will go completely off the deep end because you feel like that's just gonna keep you in power. You don't actually care about what's best for the country.
Yeah.
And that to me, if you could fix that, there might be some things, just like a kid, where you have to be like, look, I know you don't like this, but trust me, this is better for you long-term. And when it ends up being better for you long-term, you end up thanking that person. But in the moment, it might hurt. But like, there's just like these people will go off the deep end to try to get votes or to try to support their party. And it doesn't make any sense.
Don't you also think the fact that the U.S., by all accounts, mismanaged the coronavirus by far by any country, in my opinion.
Yep.
Because we actually had the tools, we had the access to medical supplies to actually prevent a lot of the community spread and actually listen to the guidelines, and we just didn't. And, 500,000 people died.
Yeah.
The fact that we're also the first country that's going to be wide open in a safe way before everyone else in the world. There's going to be no other country in the world that's going to be rocking the way the U.S. is going to be rocking this summer. And we didn't learn our lesson.
No.
Because we're the first to get back.
Because that's what we do, though. Think about it. Like, we don't do preventative. We don't do health. We don't do, like, we wait till the problem gets so bad, we throw money at it, and we do that really well. And we fix it well, and we throw drugs at it really well. We do that well. And one of the things about being driven so much by money is you will, number one, put up the money to the drug companies to make it. You'll put up the money so that the economy can get back roaring. Like, we do that well. But if only you could mix in a little bit of that preventative mentality or that empathy or that thing, I think America would be like absolutely incredible, unbeatable. But we don't do that well, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, the problem now is when the next virus comes, they'll be like, oh, we'll find the vaccine. We don't need to listen to the health officials.
No, it's over. With this shit, I'm telling you, by June, it's like, America crushed this vaccine or this pandemic. We're the best.
Yeah.
No, everyone's going to completely forget.
Everyone's going to completely forget when 3,500 people were dying a day.
Yeah. Completely forget.
They already forgot.
Yeah. Okay, and then the one out here in California at the Veterans Home, like, do we know anything about that? That's like happening as we speak, or?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll learn more, but it's out in Yountville.
Where's that at?
It just says cops have up north.
Okay.
It's like near Napa, that whole area.
Okay.
But we haven't. It just says we've got our SWAT team on hand. It's just reports of shooting, so there hasn't been anything yet. But
Okay.
we'll find out soon.
Okay. Okay, let's jump into some technology and business news. Here is a headline that, or maybe a sentence that really embodies the absurdity of 2021 as far as all this crypto stuff goes. We're going to talk a lot more about it at the end of this episode. But NFT digital artwork by humanoid robot Sophia is up for auction.
So
Everyone
we've
soak
reached
that in.
peak.
Peak
We've
fuckery.
Peak fuckery is the exact word I was going to use. And this is a joke. I mean, now we're talking about, first we were like NFTs. Yeah, cool. Super interesting. Now some robot is making an NFT
Sophia.
and we have to buy that?
Yep.
That's a scam. I'm sorry. Scam.
I mean,
I'm
Jack
not buying that
Dorsey
one.
collected 2 point whatever million on his first tweet.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
But Sophia is next level. I mean, at least Jack is a real person who had like a real thought about a real moment in time.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like this is almost like a joke, and people are like
Yes.
just seeing how far they can push it.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
like what if
we talk
Sophia?
Yeah, and we talk about,
But it's
we have a big
crazy that
interview.
there's actually demand
Yeah,
in the space. Like people are parting with
yeah,
with money.
yeah.
It's not just like smoke and mirrors. There's actually transactions going on.
I know.
That's the part that,
It's scary.
yeah.
What were you saying, Dee?
No, I'm saying like our interview at the end with Ian and Pascal are really talking about how to protect this world of NFTs and cryptos. And like, I mean, think about it. Like, think about the bragging rights. Yo, I own this NFT made by a robot.
Yeah, but this is the crazy thing. That's bragging rights with about 100 people. How many people in the world even understand what the fuck you own?
Or how you own it. Or
Like, you know what I mean? Like
where
you have an amazing Banksy painting or something, or a Basquiat. Everyone kind of gets that. You have a digital artwork humanoid Sophia mock-up.
I would get a euro.
Another takeaway from my lunch with Tim
Yes.
is that the access to information is so amazing in 2021 and 2020, whatever, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Tim was saying all his artsy, creative friends are hip to game on crypto, NFTs. That wasn't even imaginable a decade ago.
It's also a little counterintuitive, man. You guys are tiptoeing the line.
Yeah.
Cat's out of the bag. I mean, we know a money-making machine when we see one.
You're all socialists until you find a hot
Well,
tip on a crypto.
And not to downplay, Bernie Bros and that whole movement. That movement happened because they felt left out of the economy. And if all of a sudden there's a world where they start making money again,
Then
their
you're
views
going
will
to find
change.
a few Leon Blacks in that group.
That's why I'm telling you that the title pan-capitalist could be the future, man. I'm telling you.
No, I think
That could be the name of your fund, Pan Capital
Our
Ventures.
next billionaires are going to be like Tim's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our future billionaires. They're going to be people that are all about...
I think
So
Dee
just-
made the best point that they became socialists because they didn't have the access to participate. Once they have the access to participate, their views are going to change.
You would think, but I would say that they would probably feel, Tim, you can speak on this, upset that we say that they only became that way because they are that way because that's how you truly believe, right?
I don't think that participating in crypto
No, I'm
Is-
saying participating in
in the stock market,
just access to creating wealth.
yeah.
No
Well, I mean,
wealth.
everyone has to, invest at some point. Like at some point, I think investment is like an important part of.
But you're only worried about being happy today and you don't really give as much of a shit about the future. Why ever invest?
Because that's just I think we're investing in the idea of crypto as well. We're investing in the idea of having a universal currency because it doesn't really make sense that like we have the US dollar. I don't do cash interactions. if everything's going to be online anyway. It
Am
really
I
does
talking to
seem like
Tim
the
or
future.
Naval?
Yeah, that's what the fucking second one.
Look how it happened, man. One lunch.
Brainwashed.
New
This guy's
integrated
brainwashed.
burger.
There's a couple
Let me ask you this,
margaritas.
Tim. Do you resonate more with like you want everyone to truly be equal and have equal outcome, or you want everyone to have truly an equal shot?
I believe in equity. I believe in creating, a system like I believe in affirmative action. I believe in creating a system that recognizes that the system has been gamified and recognizes that there are people with privilege and finds a way to combat that. Because if we continue to be ignorant to it and say everyone's got a fair shot in life, it's just not true.
But if you made like $1 billion on crypto because we got a hot tip, like would you distribute that out to others, or would you buy a mansion?
I would support a system that did that for me politically, like I would
Well, you'd keep
support
the
being
mansion.
taxed fairly based on my income because
So you're in the
I
middle.
think there's a way to, is that in the middle?
Yeah, because I do think where it gets hung up is like equal outcome. Like equity, whatever, we could go deep on it later, but like where truly everyone just sort of makes the same. Like no matter what, you all get the same outcome.
Yeah.
Doctors get this, nurses get that. There is no like superstars. There is no Elon Musks. There is no whatever. Some people believe that. Like Bernie had a big tweet about Elon Musk, which we should talk about on Friday maybe, because even my dad asked me about that.
Okay.
Bernie had a tweet about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos about how they shouldn't have so much money, and then Elon responded. I think it's causing a lot of debate.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Let's save
yeah.
it for Friday. So
I
let me.
don't think that's what Bernie wants, though. I think Bernie just wants to make sure that someone who's working 40 hours a week isn't struggling to survive.
Yeah, I'm not saying he does. We'll talk about that on Friday. But that was just my question. Is there some people who
Shut
are a
up,
little bit
you
more
capitalist
extreme?
pig.
I know, man. Did you notice he danced around, are you going to keep the mansion or not? He's like, I would, with all my money, I would support a candidate. I would
He
donate.
sounds like a
exactly.
Oh
politician.
Yeah, he just turned into a Koch brother.
Poser.
Oh my God.
Poser.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll talk about all that Friday. We have other topics on Friday. We went a little long because we have this interview with our good friend Ian Rogers. When Ian Rogers was on the podcast last time, he was like the Naval of group chat. I don't know
Fan
if you
favorite.
Remember?
Yeah.
All the listeners were like, oh my gosh, Ian. So Ian's back. Ian's got a new job over at Ledger. So him and the CEO of Ledger, Pascal, are on today, and they're going to talk about crypto, NFTs, all the above, right? They talk about our boy who bought the LeBron James NFT.
We're a little
A
worried.
little bit of a panic.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all this stuff.
It was a great conversation, not only about what they're building at Ledger, because it's awesome, just what crypto means to the world and how important it can be, and how we're all so excited for all the potential.
And congrats to Ian on the
sounds
new
like
gig.
Tim needs to back up the Brinks truck for a couple ledgers.
No.
And we also talk about Pete. He's
Might be having a new job soon.
he was angling
Doing
the
a
whole
little lobbying
interview.
himself, huh?
The whole interview is just
Let
angling
me say,
for
I've got
himself.
plenty of contact information for Ian.
Maybe that's where he was
I know.
when you were trying to find him.
That's true. It was right after the interview.
He might have been on the phone.
My
Let's not-
job interview.
Yeah.
Let's see your
jump
call
to
history.
Threw on a button up and jumped on Zoom. Hello, yes, Matthew. Actually, it's actually Matthew.
Pete, what's it? Nate, do you know one word phrase in French?
Bonjour.
Pete says he took
I
French
took
in
French
college.
for 3
You
semesters.
really leaned into the.
Oh,
at the
God.
end of
Yes,
that.
You don't know
it's
anything
a
else.
language.
Okay, we'll see you later. Have a
Bonjour.
good trip.
How are all
Yeah.
Pete's friends
Au
French?
revoir.
Huh? Jean-Francois, Pascal.
Yeah,
I'm the Frenchman, I translate.
that
All
was
over
kind of
the
German.
world.
There's a little bit of German.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there.
I trans a Russian. I translate.
I also can do that.
Oh my god. Okay, let's get into it. Ian and Pascal, let's go.
All right, everyone. We have two very special guests, and they are coming live for us from Paris. We have Ian Rogers back and talking about his career change, which is really exciting, and his new CEO of his company just joined, Pascal. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me back. I know when I talked to you guys in November, I couldn't yet tell you what I was up to. But I'm glad to get to come back and do the Redux now. And also, the world has fucking changed since I was there in November. So
Right.
Well,
might as well get
exactly.
in.
Yeah, and that's actually interesting. So for those of you that remember, Ian, you should listen to the episode. I think it was in Thanksgiving week, November-ish, is when Ian was on. And Ian's the former chief digital officer over at LVMH, good friend. And, we did a Twitch that night where we went and talked about crypto for, I don't know, about an hour and a half. And really funny story. So that night, I was, half a dozen drinks in, and I'm sitting on my Coinbase account, which, hadn't been active in a very, very long time because I had sold so much of my crypto like 7-8 years ago, or, whatever, 5 years ago. I don't remember exactly. So I was like, Ian's making some compelling points here on crypto, on just other cases other than the other normal stuff that I hear. And I was like, you know what? I'll dip my toes.
By the way.
Yeah. I'll dip my toes back into crypto. So I went and bought just that night a bunch of Ethereum. And, just dumb luck timing, it's now worth a considerable amount of money considering it just happened in like a matter of 90 days.
That is good advice.
But Ian, can we step back? He sits next to me every day for a decade and listening to me talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it takes a drunk Twitch night for him to fucking get some Ethereum.
Well, to be fair, I did buy it the first time you told me. I did buy it, and then when it went to the record high the last time, I was like, hey, this is a lot of money. I'll sell it. I'm done. And now I felt comfortable dipping my toe back in. Because you're also like, you're all in. Like, if crypto doesn't work out for me, like, I'm okay with it. You like want crypto to work. You believe in it. You think it should disrupt the world. I'm just here for the ride.
Okay, you're here for the tendies and champagne, like our Wall Street Bets fellows.
Paper hands.
Yes, exactly. So I think it would be really great just to understand what Ledger is, and
well, he actually didn't even talk about what he does, what Ledger is, or anything. You just said he'd made a career change. So why don't we just start? What happened in the last kind of 3-4 months?
I will look. I'll tell you that. So I'll give it the story this way, and then I'll turn it over to Pascal, and he can tell you what Ledger is. I moved here to Paris just over 5 years ago, and right when I moved here, I worked at Yahoo in the 2000s, and a friend named Toby Koppel, who's also a friend of Pascal's. When I moved to Paris, he said, "Oh, you're moving to Paris. You have to meet Pascal." Okay, so I'll tell you, when you move to Paris, what happens is you meet a lot of dudes in blue sport coats who are very nice, but not going to become your best friend. And then I meet this guy, and I was like, wait, this guy is really different. Hold on, I got to hang on to this one. And so I did, really, just as a friend. And to be honest, like the only reason I could think of to not take the job at Ledger was to risk losing a friendship with Pascal, which had become important to me during my time here in Paris. But Pascal was, seed investor in Ledger, and over time became the president and now the CEO, and, was scaling the company to something that honestly, is one of the biggest opportunities I've seen in my career. And so it was kind of, more of a magnetic or gravitational pull than strictly, taking a new job. But after 5 years at LVMH, for me personally, I was going to do something else, either at LVMH or else outside. I'm super happy with what I did there. I'm still consulting with LVMH. I was with the team there, last week, and so that relationship continues. But what Pascal's doing was in my view kind of too big to pass on, so I joined. With that, I'll let Pascal tell you what Ledger is.
Before you get into that, Pascal, I mean, if you can watch this on YouTube, I know most of the people listen to the podcast, but you may get a lot of job applicants, Pascal. You guys are in Paris, drinking a bottle of wine, doing a podcast. Like, I kind of want to go work for Ledger now.
We were hiring, so we should talk.
This is what happens when Bitcoin was trading at like 15,000 in November, and now it's damn near 60,000. They're drinking fancy wine, and it looks like they're in a medieval setting.
Probably a mansion.
Right now, we're hiring close to 200 people, so there's definitely room for people to join and come to hiring. But it's something that Ian said that is funny before I tell you about Ledger, which is, I heard someone, I can't remember who it was, but it was a rule of business to never do business with your friends. And I always thought, it depends on your friends. Like if they're really good, then you should want to do business with them. And so, when I make those decisions and I asked Ian to come on board, I mean, first it took sort of 2 years to get him on board. So it wasn't overnight. It wasn't a decision when we were drunk on Twitch. It was like actually 2 years discussion. And after 2 years, finally, I mean, Ian had things to do, but finally, it was the right time. And I think friendship is based on sort of trust and mutual respect. And so I think this is very important when you do business, those two factors. So obviously super, super happy that Ian is in and is already making a tremendous change for the company. And, the news that are coming out in the next few weeks will be amazing and really a testimony to the change that Ian is bringing to the company.
Wow.
So I'm saying this now and here, and then next week or the next few weeks, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, what is Ledger? So these are my keys, and this is my Ledger. So it's to dumb it down. We're a security company, and we do safes. And people say that in the gold rush, the only one who made money were the pick and shovels guys. Actually, it's not an accurate historical fact. The one that actually made money were the safe manufacturers. Because when you came down the mountain with your gold, you needed a safe to put the gold somewhere. Otherwise, people will just come and take it from you. When you have gold at home, you can't leave it on the chimney. You have to put it in a safe. And so sort of same apply for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the Bitcoin gold. And so the one thing that you need to do, the fundamental need, is to make it secure it. And so we've designed this, which is a connected safe. And so it feels, it helps you with one of the fundamental problems of cryptocurrencies, which is the security when your cryptocurrency is at rest and the security when you want to trade with your cryptocurrency. And suddenly you need to make that transaction and you need to secure the endpoint. So this is what this little thing does. And this is what we've been doing for, 6 years now. And we sold 3 million of these. Right now we have millions of consumers connecting on our platform because the safe is connected. And so in order to use it, you need to have this app on your phone, Ledger Live, or on your computer. And this is how you handle your coins. And we stand for two things. One is security and the other one is ease of use. This is the mission that we have for our consumers. And what we promise is exhaustivity. We try to do as many coins as possible, as many blockchains as possible. We're not here to bet on who's going to win, and we love everyone. So we want to make sure that as our customer, we help you with your crypto journey, with your NFT journey, with everything that is coming that's going to be on the blockchain.
So I think we have a lot of young listeners that are super interested in crypto. Can you explain to them why Ledger is important? Because I think a lot of our listeners have just gotten into crypto in the last kind of 6 months. So they're still navigating like what the difference between exchanges is and how to store it. So I guess trying to just dumb it down for someone who just learned about NFTs or crypto in the last 3 to 6 months that probably doesn't have sophistication.
When Lucinda and I were driving to Mammoth a couple of weeks ago, I listened to the episode where you had the guy that bought the $208,000, Top Shot thing.
Top Shot, yeah.
And you asked him the money question. You were like, so where are you keeping that thing? And he was like, in the web wallet. And I literally, you could ask my 14-year-old, I screamed out at the top of my lungs, no!
I was worried for him, to be honest. Very nice guy, but I was worried for him.
No, I know. I heard it in your voice. You asked the money question. But that is the answer to the question. To your listeners who are just getting into crypto, here's what I would say. Guys, you're part of a revolution, and it's super exciting. I'm old. I'm 48 fucking years old, which is like basically ancient. And, but what I remember is the beginning of the internet, right? And what I remember is all of these people who then were the age that I am now telling me this is never going to happen. This is a fad. You'll never be able to stream video over the internet. The internet and tomorrow is going to look like AOL today. But I know that if your young listeners are, they know better. They know that they're a part of something big and that they're driving it, right? And the novel invention is digital ownership, digital sovereignty, digital scarcity. That's new. That didn't exist 20 years ago. when I was, whatever, 28, I guess I was 20 years ago. But even 25 years ago, there, this was like the internet was where this is now. And so, with that though, comes a digital something which you can lose or be stolen. And this story, like, oh, my MetaMask with all my NFTs got drained. Like, we're going to hear that once a week for the rest of 2021. I promise you. So, the problem is that we hold in our hand Web 2.0 devices, which are not prepared for Web 3.0 value. So, Pete, if you are holding significant value, and
you better believe Pete's holding significant
You don't
value.
even know the value I'm holding.
If you're holding that shit in a web wallet, if you're holding that shit in Chrome, please let me know. Because I'm coming for you.
I will be in contact after this.
But that's the thing is, if you're holding that in a web browser or in an iPhone app, you're not protected. Though you're susceptible to malware, SIM swaps. One thing that we know is last year was the worst year for cybercrime. This year will be the worst year for cybercrime. Next year will be the worst year for cybercrime. You're going to be able to say that phrase for the rest of your life and know that you're accurate. And so the reality is you need the hardware to hold your value.
So for someone like me who, let's say I have an account in, I don't know, Kraken and Coinbase and all these people, like, how does Ledger work with those? And, how safe is it walking around with that? Because I assume Pascal's got a lot of crypto.
Don't let Pete near Pascal. He might
I don't own any crypto. This is the level 1 of security. Never tell anyone that you have anything. When it comes to
exactly.
money, shut the fuck up. So, I don't own any crypto. However, if I did, I think just maybe before, one thing I want to say is, for the younger generation, also there is a question of sort of sovereignty and ownership. The older generation have been stripped from ownership of anything digital. You don't own anything. We came from a world where you own a car, you can own a house, etc. When it's the physical stuff, you own stuff. Digitally, you don't own anything. And actually, bit by bit, the stuff that you had, like your MP3s, have been replaced thanks to him by like sort of streaming, etc. And now you spend fortunes in the streaming. I mean, maybe not fortune in the sense like it's $10 a month, but still, like you're buying a service, you're actually not buying the good. And so the day you die, I cannot give my collection of streaming to my son. And so everything that is digital, our rights have been sort of taken away from us. So I think there is something quite revolutionary, as we say in French, 1789, but we can take sort of the power back on something that we own digitally. And I think this is a profound change in what we can do. And because now it's possible, then people will do it. Because suddenly, if I can own something or leave it at the bank, then I've got the two options. Before I had none, I had to leave everything at the bank. And I think this is a profound change that we don't really understand right now. Many people use crypto as a gamble, to make money, and they buy, they exit, etc. I mean, the story that you were telling before, and that's all good and well. But what's coming our way now, I think, is more profound than this, and it's not just about making money, but it's also about owning something. And so, in our regions, like in France, in the US, etc., it means very different than if you're in Venezuela or in other part of the world where democracy is not as where you'd like it to be. And so typically now being able to own something, if you're in Syria, for example, and your family has been moved from Syria to somewhere else, if your money is at the bank, honestly, life isn't good. If your money is on you, on your ledger, or in a blockchain somewhere, actually, when you move to France, then you can retrieve your coins and your money. So I think, for humanity as a whole, it's a very interesting concept, and I think we're just seeing the beginning of it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I remember back in like 2011, 12, when I started learning about the space, and the argument was always like, oh, the US government and these Western governments will never allow this to exist. And I said, okay, let's just assume that as fact. If you can bank third world countries with unstable governments and give them an option of currency, that's already a massive multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, even if you forget the developed world. And I think that's an important point, what you said about someone in Syria, that, you know, transferring money and flow of like money is just tough. And that's crypto solves that for, you know, I think a third of the world is still unbanked, which is like a shocking number. That's like 2 billion people.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, you know, I think this is still very early. And so we haven't seen any of this happening. But, you know, there is a sense of freedom that comes with these technologies. And I think, you know, if we, you know, whether it's ownership or freedom, I mean, to me, you know, I put these two words sort of together. And I think, you know, to the younger generation, then I would say, you know, these are the tools for your digital freedom. So it's beyond ownership. Ownership is important, but freedom, I think, is probably even more. And you know, when you see what's happening in the normal world right now, where every time you want to spend money, I mean, you got your KYC, you got the AML. I mean, you know, like every time you touch your money, you have to prove that you're not a drug dealer. You know, I think there's something that is fundamentally wrong with this, where everyone, each and every one of us, even though we've done nothing wrong. I mean, I know I've done nothing wrong. I don't know about you guys, but you certainly have to prove that you're not in the drug business before you do anything else, which is a bit backwards. Or you have to
I mean,
terrorists before you do anything else, which is terrible. And because you have 0.1% of the population that are in the drug business and or in the terrorism business, then the 99.999% of the population have to go through these cumbersome processes. So I don't know. There is something there too.
So how do I think of? Because I mean, I know you explained it very simply that Ledger is like the modern day safe, but how do I really like? What's the vision for it? Because I'm assuming it's part of a larger story that you guys are building out. So how should someone think about it other than just like a digital safe?
I think that you can think now about Ledger as the place that you start and secure your cryptocurrency journey. So a year ago, you would say, all right, I buy crypto somewhere and then I move it to my Ledger, and that's the safe place to keep it and own it. Today, though, you know, you can buy and you can trade directly through Ledger Live. We're actually bringing that to the US within a couple of months. So, you know, within a couple of months, you'll be able to buy and trade right from Ledger Live. You can already do that in the rest of the world. So I buy every week. I do my DCA right with Ledger. I do everything inside of Ledger. I use Ledger Live as my portfolio manager. If I'm rebalancing my portfolio, I do it inside of Ledger Live. I buy, like I said, I have my DCA with Ledger Live, so I do everything there. And what I get with that is both security and ownership. So I could do that with Kraken. And actually, you know, we have nothing against those services at all. In fact, we have an enterprise service because wherever you hold your coins should be protected with a combination of hardware and software security. We're not unbiased, but we think we do it the best. So the custodians that protect with our enterprise product, we think are the most protected ones. And so, you know, when you're with the custodian, they're protecting you with a combination of hardware and software security. If you're using your Ledger, you have a combination of hardware and software security and ownership, as Pascal said. So that's the way that I would think about it. Frankly, you shouldn't keep any value in any of the software wallets, not in the web, not on your phone. I wouldn't recommend it to a friend. So you can be at a custodian. They're big honeypots, but you know, I think that, you know, the Kraken and Coinbases of the world do a fine job. But certainly the place where you get both ownership and security is with Ledger. So the long-term vision, though, is that as Pascal said earlier, we're agnostic and we're the place where all the coins, all the chains, all the services meet. So if you have a Ledger, you can feel secure, you can have ownership, and then you can also interact. So whether you're buying, swapping, staking, lending, interacting with the world of DeFi, interacting with the world of NFTs, do all of that, you know, kind of from the security and ownership position of Ledger.
Got it.
If you allow me, I would probably add something to what Ian says and trying to sort of dumb it down a little bit for everyone, which is, if you think that Web3 is a thing, so Web3 is the web of value, you know, Web3 needs an endpoint. Web3 needs a device. First of all, there is no software without hardware. And the hardware that we have today, whether it's your phone or computer, they've not been designed for Web3 and the security of Web3. So what Ledger is going to be for users in the future is the hardware, the operating system, and the Web3 browser, basically. And all of these are going to happen into one single user experience. And that's the step one. The step two is we're going to go from Web3 to Web2. Again, when it comes to value, because think that today in your Web3, you're going to have your DeFi, you're going to have your coins, you're going to have your NFTs, etc. You're going to be able to buy, sell, swap, exchange. I mean, everything that you can do with Web3, and it's going to happen into a single experience with Ledger. And that's going to become, for a lot of people, their primary account. Your primary account will probably become your crypto account. Then everything will be secondary going from there. And I'm talking, 5-10 years. I'm not going to, maybe not talking today, although for some people today, they have more money in crypto than they have in anything else. And so your primary account becomes your crypto, and then you can bring into your Web3 experience, your Web2 experience for what's important. So typically your Revolut account or your bank account. And then you merge these experiences together, because then from your Web3 device, you can say, okay, I want to sell those coins and I want to bring them into, in dollars in my, Revolut account or whatever bank I have, etc. And then back from Revolut to my crypto account. So this is what's going to happen in the next sort of 5 years, I think. And this is what Ledger stands for. So everything that has value and that we want to use, you have it on your Ledger.
I think it's also important just to explain, because Ledger's cold storage. So explaining to people that are just getting into the space why current Web 2.0 iPhones and our browsers from a security standpoint aren't fit for Web 3.0, which is what the point you made. Can you just dumb down cold storage and on-chain or on-exchange holdings so that people understand the security risks?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, it depends how you use your Ledger. If your Ledger is in your pocket, or with me, like so, then it's cold storage. As soon as you connect it to the internet, it's connected. And it's actually okay to be connected, because you have the same level of security whether you're connected or not. And I think that's an important thing to say, because there is no such thing as pure cold storage. Because people say, okay, I go cold storage, I just put my 24 words on a piece of paper, and that's cold storage too. The problem is, okay, but then from there, how do you do a transaction? Or I could send a piece of paper on Mars, and then it will be super secure. Then I have to get it back to make a transaction, which is, super expensive. And so, the interesting thing with Ledger is that it can be always connected. You don't have to disconnect it from the internet to be secure. So that's an important thing.
That makes sense.
Why not like a web wallet?
Right.
So what's the difference between that? If that's connected, then what's the difference between using a piece of software that is an iPhone app, which has my value?
All right. Okay. So then a couple of things. Then you can decide to trust your money to someone, but then they become the single point of failure. So there are two models here. Either you go with the custodian or you do the self-custodianship, just like with your gold. If you have gold, you can decide to trust the bank. You can keep gold at home. The problem with crypto is if you trust your crypto with someone, you're not really sure of their level of security. And so right now, the highest level of security is actually, the hardware technology that Ledger has developed. And so if you look at the history of exchanges, for example, they've been hacked over and over again every year, and even the biggest ones. And so it's very difficult to trust someone else with your coins, because right now you're in a world where if the coins are disappearing from an exchange platform, who knows if they're going to reimburse you. So it's actually a big risk to leave them on the platform. And then suddenly it becomes, the question becomes, you can still decide to trust a bank, but this sort of defeats the purpose of cryptocurrencies. And so suddenly you have the ownership, and so you can have it with you. And so now you can decide between hardware and software. The problem with software is that it runs on your phone. And actually, we're about to publish with the Dungeon a bunch of articles. So the Dungeon is our attack lab. We have white hats that are working hard every day to basically crack open everything and try to
including our own products.
Including our own products. And so they're going to publish like a series of articles on software wallets. The software wallet on your phone, it's very easy to extract the private keys, and it's very easy to attack it because it is not relying on a security that is high enough. Your hardware wallet is dealt with your software wallet. Sorry, is dealt on the phone today the same way that your Clash of Clans game is dealt with. So the level of security is actually better on newer phones than others, but the phones have not been designed to do security. The phone have been designed to go fast and to play games. Okay. Now in phones you have secure elements, integrated secure elements or trust zones. And these are hardware security implemented into the phones. But you have to know that none of the software wallets today run from that secured zone. Okay, like it doesn't really exist today. In time, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, there is a possibility there, and we're already working on it. And so that might happen. But until then, your best security when you have to own your private keys is the hardware security that is provided by Ledger. And, it's actually documented, proven, certified. And so the last thing I would say is if you're an end user, don't trust my word for it. Don't trust verify and go look for the information. If you have to handle your own security, then it becomes your problem. And so, check hard on what's best for you.
Yeah, look up like MetaMask hacks, software wallet hacks, those sorts of things. The fact of the matter is, if somebody compromises your device or your browser or your phone, then they're going to do what they want to with it, right? Whereas, that's not going to happen to you with a Ledger device.
Got it. And here's a really interesting question. I noticed on Robinhood, when you purchase cryptocurrency, it's not there's no you can't send it anywhere. So it doesn't even feel like you actually purchased it. It just says you own X amount of coins or whatever, but if you can't send it anywhere, is it even on the blockchain? Because what is going on over there?
You are getting exposure to that asset. You are not buying that asset. So you're
proxy.
Yeah,
you're at 2 levels removed. You're basically bought an index, right? In the kind of financial parlance, right? It's like, you bought an index basically.
What a scam!
Fucking Vlad.
But it's not a scam. It's all about who do you trust and who's the single point of failure, and it's all about ownership. What you actually bought a Bitcoin is just that you don't own it. It's someone else who owns it.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
And so but it's the whole thing. And so the day that someone else says, "Sorry, but you don't have access to Bitcoin anymore until you send me 10 pieces of paper that prove that it's really you, that prove that." You don't have the ownership.
Or I'll tell you what, we can move these Bitcoins for you, but only up to $5,000 in value and only after 48 hours of wait time.
Right.
That's...
Alors voilà. Okay, now let me tell you one thing. And I almost spoke French for a second. Okay, the reason I got in this game is because, the reason why I am in Bitcoin is because I talked to a guy called Vences Cesares, who is one of the, coolest entrepreneurs on the planet. He is the CEO of Zappo. Argentinian guy. And he explained to me Bitcoin, and I bought my first Bitcoins from him. So, okay, now you know about Bitcoin. Shit, I said it.
Should have said it in French. No one would figure it out.
I told them. I lost the private keys. I lost them. And so we did a transaction, and then I did a few transactions, and I was like, wow. And I could send very high values with very low fees and very quickly and no one asking me questions. And I was thinking about everything that I got to go through with my bank in order for them to wire 10,000 euros somewhere. And I was okay, this changes everything. Because suddenly, people will say, oh no, but with my bank, it's actually working pretty well, which is true. When I'm in France and I want to send something in France, it works well. When I'm in France and I want to send something in Swiss, not so well. If I'm in France and I want to send something in Nigeria, then it doesn't work. And the power of Bitcoin, these networks, etc. And so therefore the power of ownership is that it breaks every financial boundaries that exist in the world today. And so if you start thinking like that, okay, I want to borrow money from someone. I can borrow money from you guys. Right now it's impossible. It's almost impossible for me to borrow anything from you. On the blockchain and with Bitcoin or Ethereum, then it becomes possible. And so suddenly, the pool of money is coming from the planet and not just from one country. So it's very interesting, and it's just the beginning. But that potential is very interesting.
Yeah, that is exciting. And then really quickly, kind of to end it, because we're in this NFT craze. Every day someone's talking to me about some new NFT, and obviously I would assume you guys have no view on that other than that, like, great, keep buying because you need to protect your now valuable asset. But like, do you guys have
before you get to your question, can the guy who came on with the $208,000 NBA Top Shot store his NFT on Ledger?
That's a great question. I had a conversation with Dapper Labs about this last week. So right now, Dapper Wallet is all inside of Dapper Wallet. But I think that they do want to help people protect that value in places other than Dapper Wallet, such as Ledger. I don't think I'm speaking out of school by saying that. I think that they want to, and that's something that I would love to see us do together with them. So
okay, amazing.
You can definitely store other NFTs, on Ledger, including CryptoKitties. Right, but they've built that Dapper Wallet for Top Shots because you know what, I'm going to give them credit. They did such a good job making such a great user experience, but they made it a closed world to do it. If you think about it, early days of the internet, America Online helped a lot of people older than us get onto the internet. There was an on-ramp. It was training wheels. Ultimately, it was not the open web, but very similarly, I think that's the thing is Dapper realized they had to build a great experience, so they built it as a closed environment. Ultimately, they will open that thing up, and then that guy will be able to protect his value with us, and I hope that he still has that value when he can.
Yeah, I hope so too. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. What was the?
What do we think about NFTs and what's our?
Yeah.
Well, I think that, again, like we said at the beginning, what we're interested in is much broader than just speculating on cryptocurrencies. Like you can tell from hearing Pascal speak, we're interested in people having digital ownership. So NFTs are definitely a part of that world. I had a really interesting conversation at LVMH last week. I was with my friend John Silva, who manages Beastie Boys and Queens of the Stone Age and Nora Jones and a ton of other managers last week on this topic. And if in the world of collectibles, in the world of patronage, there's definitely a place for digital ownership. So, okay, is there a speculative bubble now? Of course there is. Nobody knows exactly what to do with this thing yet. But, at the end of the day, do creative people do things with new canvases? Always. And do people like to collect? Yes. Do people like to be patrons of the arts? Yes. So there is something really, fundamentally human here. And so we'll announce on Wednesday we're hiring a head of NFT at Ledger that I think people will find interesting, and we think it's going to be a really big and transformative movement.
What are the qualifications for a job like that?
Because
I have great work history. I don't know if it's in the exact category.
You know what's interesting? It's going to be one of those. Not to say you guys have done this, but I saw someone post the other day, like looking to hire TikTok manager, looking for 10 years experience, and the guy's like, TikTok's gonna
That's genius. Yeah, but I think what you guys should do after this episode is put up a poll. How long till Pete works at Ledger?
I feel like he's already DM'd you and asked you for a fucking job application.
Hey, we don't need to be revealing what's in the DMs, okay?
Well, by the way, Pete definitely does not have a passport. He's probably never.
I do. I'm a big Europe traveler.
Yeah, sure. So today Ledger Live is available for everyone outside of America, correct?
So Ledger Live is available for everyone, including in America, and then we'll launch buy and exchange in America in a couple of months.
Got it. And then if I go to the Ledger website today and I live in America, I'm purchasing the hardware. That's
Correct.
Like, okay,
you go to ledger.com, you buy a Nano S or a Nano X.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
Pete, you better put the problem is Pete bought his Dogecoin on Robinhood. He doesn't even own it.
I know. I learned about this.
You can't even use Ledger.
Yeah, well, I can for my sushi swap.
That's
It's gonna be a
amazing.
quick study. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, I think there's a lot to learn here, and I think I'm going to go check out the site now and purchase my first piece of hardware, and I'd love to learn more. And I think once we experience it, I think it'd be great to have you guys back on, just to kind of walk people through it. Because like I was making a bet that Pete couldn't even create a Coinbase account, like actually create an account, because it's if you want to go open
it takes a driver's license.
In a certain bank. I have a Coinbase account, just for everybody wondering.
but yeah, I mean, I think
big day for me.
But yeah, I mean, I think not just love to learn more about that, and obviously the security element, and then just how to think about it, because like you guys are on the forefront of it, and like I think there's so many people that still hit us up, and even myself included. Like, I understand that it's a revolution happening. I don't know where the hell it's going, but it's like I don't want to miss it. That's my understanding of it at this point. Anand has a much deeper understanding and appreciation for it. So I think we all know we need to have exposure to it and participate in it. And so, love to have you guys back.
You just cut off, D. Now you're back on.
Yeah. So I said, let me get my ledger situated first, and then we'll have you guys back on to make sure I did it right.
Yeah, I also want to keep the conversation going because I've been on this podcast for years saying crypto's by far the most exciting space in technology by like a lot. And you guys are at the forefront, and just want to keep hearing what you guys are learning and keep our listeners up to date.
Thanks, man. And can you imagine how much my tongue hurt after the last time I did the show?
Yeah, I knew you were on to something. I was like, this guy's talking way too. I was like, guy works at LVMH and all he's talking about is crypto. So this is
something was up.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do Twitch and talk about Dior. This guy's talking about crypto the whole time.
Exactly. All right. Well, and let's wait. Hold on. Not as vaccinated. D, not yet vaccinated.
Oh. I am vaccinated.
Oh, you did it. You got the first one. Okay.
I got my second one too. I'm fully out. Yeah. So like,
we're out in the streets, Ian. LA's rocking.
Get over here. What are you waiting for?
Are we allowed to come in? What's the rules?
You just need an excuse.
Okay.
You need a job at leisure. Then come on in.
Got it. Head of NFTs.
Can you imagine if that was Anand's second job?
Well, Anand has his big IPO, his Coinbase IPO coming up next 2 weeks. So
he's
going to need a lot of ledgers. He might carry around like 10 of those.
You just hear him coming in any room. He's just jingling and jangling.
When the IPO goes out and on, like just fire up the yacht and like you can go around South America and then come on over.
No, we
don't.
Well, come on,
awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for staying up late for us.
No problem, man. Good to see you guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
Seriously, though, hope to see you here soon.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll be out there soon.
All right, man. Good looking out.
All right, everyone. We are back with another run challenge. Grand Running Club partnered up with our homie DJ Vice on the second annual GRC Mile a Day Challenge. We are reopening up this country. It is time to get healthy. All you have to do is register at grandrunningclub.com, click races to take part in the GRC Mile a Day Challenge. Once you sign up, you will receive an amazing challenge package and, of course, an exclusive GRC long sleeve shirt and incredible samples from a bunch of cool new brands, discounts, bonus gifts. You got to sign up. There's so much value in this. All you have to do now is run a minimum of 1 mile every day for 30 days throughout April. I can't wait. I need to get back in shape. Summer bods are made in April. So let's get this. Post your miles every day in your challenge dashboard. Follow along on Grand Running Club Instagram. Follow me. Follow the whole gang. This is a really fun activity. It's about discipline. It's about feeling good. It's about looking good. Let's get this going. You can walk it too. It's just about getting a mile a day done. And if you ride a bike that goes nowhere, don't enter this challenge. This isn't for you. I don't even want you to even go to the website. That's it.
Okay, great interview. Good stuff, man. Ian is always a crowd favorite, and I'm sure he'll be back many more times. Do we have any shout outs to take us into the sunset here?
We do. We have lots of shout outs. Dee, do you have any?
No.
Okay, let's do it. The first shout out, none other than our very own co-host of Modern RX, Deepak, and his new baby. Maya.
Deepak.
Maya Rani Dugar, if I say it correctly.
You probably didn't.
Sounds
It's fine.
Probably didn't. Probably botched it.
Ronnie,
Still.
but yeah, sure.
Ronnie. Still, congratulations to him. I also have another shout out to our Cathys and listeners who have been partaking in our March Madness tournament bracket challenge. We have 2 current people battling for it. Well, really like a top 3 that are all kind of tied with each other at 440 and 430 points. It's been cool. A lot of great picks going on. And I would also like to give shout out to the last place guy. He chose Pete's an Idiot as his username. So who's the idiot now? Mr. Last Place.
And really quickly on Deepak's, congratulations on the newborn. What's interesting is his Instagram got real quiet. All the social activity is all gone now.
The close
Shocker.
friends there's no more close friends.
Yeah.
Maybe he's growing up being a dad. I don't know.
Yeah. You quickly realize you have no friends anymore.
I have a shout out. College friend, Amit Man. He had a long post on Facebook and Instagram about how 2 years ago he was creeping towards 200 pounds and was like, I need to make a life change. And he lost 30 pounds at the age of 38. And he documented his journey. And
Wow.
The things he wanted to like really focus on is how carbs and sugar were the kryptonite for him. And no matter how much he exercised, if he didn't cut out carbs and sugar, he didn't see any results. And intermittent fasting was super critical. And he got super fit and healthy at 38, lost 30 pounds, looks great, did a post. His IG and Facebook are at low, LOW, carb, CARB, MANN, and he documents his journey, and he just wants to share tips, what worked for him. Obviously, everyone's different, but it worked for him, and he wants to give people an option if they're interested and if they're looking for weight loss.
Wow. Amazing.
Congrats to
That's
him.
good to hear.
Yeah.
Congrats. Okay, what else?
That's all the shout outs that I have.
We
Tim?
did get a shout out from DeBaby Back Ribs.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Well, can you guess who that might be?
Satosh.
He said, "Hey gang, hope you're doing well. Just finished listening to the last episode. I think it's safe to say that between Dee's love of Dee and Tim's lectures on sexuality, conservative group chat listeners are on the verge of having a heart attack." It came for QAnon and left the moment that Tim opened his mouth. But good riddance to them. If you feel the need to leave negative reviews because somebody disagrees with your politics, you're lame, and I hope you choke on some athletic greens.
Oh my God.
Like D.
Aside from this, as you know, I've been running the Satoshi from Group Chat Instagram account. I've been fielding a ton of questions, comments, and requests. One question I received was, do your significant others listen to the pod? Anand's wife, Amanda, follows the page, so I'm guessing she does, but thought it was a good question for the other two of you.
Well, we know Dee's
My
wife
wife-
does.
Anand definitely does. And I remember when we were all in the office, I would walk into Amanda's office and the whole production team would be listening
listening.
to group chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't.
My wife, not so much.
Yeah,
she's,
she's
on the
like-
other hand, it's documented that she doesn't want to hear Dee
Mine
more.
hears enough of me. Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of, like, you're enough to handle in person. I don't need to hear your voice.
So you can tell whose significant other loves them the most.
I will say Satoshi took a shot at Taylor on Instagram. I don't know if you guys
Really?
caught that.
Oh, yeah.
did.
What was
Yeah,
it?
on a full post. It wasn't even a story.
People
Wow.
really, the group chat
there's
audience
real
really
beef.
think there's like some beef there. That's good.
Well, we'll have Taylor back on. He's on a Miami jaunt.
Or maybe we don't. Maybe we lean into it. Maybe we have him do a couple posts. Like, you know what? Fuck those guys.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think he listens, so he'll never know.
Well, fuck him then. Okay. Is that it?
Wait, well, does Corrine listen?
No, I said no.
Oh, okay,
No.
sorry.
No,
Missed
no,
that
no.
part.
No, I talk plenty at home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My wife listens when it's like a big episode.
Got it.
Yeah, I usually go home and she'll be like, "What'd you guys talk about today?" I'll give her the quick version.
She said, great, don't need to listen
Yeah,
now.
yeah. That's about it.
Nice.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
There we go, gang. Thank you guys.
Wow.
I mean, here we go. We'll be back Friday. We got a lot of topics. We got a lot of good ones we didn't get to today. I'm sure we're going to circle back on Mr. Dyrdek because we have some developments. And we'll keep updated on Tim's new capitalist mentality.
Maybe we'll get that podcast soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. Okay, see you guys later.